From Corruption Watch now joins us via Skype. David, thank you for joining us. So judgment reserved. Are you feeling confident?
Well, I think we're feeling confident. I'm feeling fairly confident that the court will find that Nxasana was removed unconstitutionally and unlawfully, and I think that will nullify Abrahams' appointment. I'm not so sure that the court will reinstate Nxasana. But I should say that, this thing is not about Nxasana or Abrahams. It's not even actually about Zuma. This thing is about whether the executive can maneuver to remove the National Director of Public Prosecutions or not. An executive under any presidency. Thabo Mbeki was actually the first president to remove an NDPP because he didn't like the decisions he was taking. Zuma is now the second one. President Ramaphosa might not do that, but I think that you make constitutions for the worst president, not for the best president. And this is about saying that no president, no executive is able to force the National Director of Public Prosecutions or induce the National Director of Public Prosecutions to leave office because he doesn't like what he's doing.
What would you say to those who say if he was being forced out, where was the righteous indignation, the court cases? Does it point to, in some senses, his choice because he took a golden handshake?
I really reject the notion that golden handshake, as you put it, constituted a kind of bribe. I think his counsel today very articulately outlined the extraordinary pressure under which he was put. And let me tell you, if he hadn't left, the pressure would not have ceased. Zuma is a ruthless, brutal man who was determined to have him removed from office, or else to not enable him, not allow him to perform the functions for which he was duly appointed. So, I don't entirely blame him for leaving. Whether legally in the end it was a wise thing to do or not is questionable. But everybody, before jumping to conclusions about golden handshakes and bribes, one has to appreciate the extraordinary pressure that Zuma, his lawyer Michael Hulley, people inside the NPA, discredited people like Nomgcobo Jiba and Lawrence Mkhwebi, put him under. And this is the salient question. They wanted to get rid of him under any cost. First they tried pressure, then they tried inducement. They always tried both simultaneously. And in the end, he settled a range of matters that he had with them by insisting that he got his contractually committed payments. And he's now offering to tender that back. So while I repeat, I don't think this thing is about Nxasana, nor do I think he should not be reinstated. This is not about Abrahams, but I don't think Abrahams should be in office because I think he was unlawfully appointed. There was no legal vacancy that had been created at the time that he was appointed. And so he should not be in office.
So maybe he should not be in office, but you've even admitted that his lawyers are hinting that he has decided to prosecute former President Jacob Zuma. Isn't that what Corruption Watch would want?
No. We would want a National Director of Public Prosecutions to take a decision on legal grounds about what he does. Whether he was influenced by President Zuma in the past and whether he's maybe being influenced by the new regime now is not what we want to see. We want to see a National Director of Public Prosecutions who acts without fear or favor. And I don't think that Shaun Abrahams has ever established that he does that. Not under Zuma, not under Ramaphosa, and he must go for that reason. Not because he was a supporter of Zuma. He now thinks he's supporting the Ramaphosa leadership of the ANC. He is not somebody who understands clearly that the National Director of Public Prosecutions has to operate operate independently and without fear or favor and not take political direction from anybody. Yes, we want President Zuma to be prosecuted because we think that there's a very powerful prima facie evidence that he's guilty of crimes. And for that reason, he must be prosecuted, not because it now happens to suit the National Director of Public Prosecutions to prosecute him, whereas a month ago or 2 months ago, it didn't suit him. That's not the kind of National Director of Public Prosecutions that we want. And it's because Nxasana was not taking orders from the president that they tried to get rid of him in the first place.
All right, thank you very much for this, your time this evening via Skype. David Lewis from Corruption Watch.